This segment of the Chopin podcast is brought to you by the Chopin Foundation of the United States, presenters of the National Chopin Competition in Miami, Florida, January 2025.
Chopin Scherzos have long been a favorite set for concert pianists to perform and record, and different artists have brought different temperaments and approaches to this electrifying music. To help guide our listening, music critic Jed Distler is here to offer his recommendations for some standout recordings of the scherzos made over the past century. Jed has listened to untold thousands of piano recordings in his life and written about many of them for Gramophone magazine and ClassicsToday.com. He is the host of WWFM's weekly radio show Between the Keys, and in 2021, he was the official gramophone blogger of the International Chopin Competition in Warsaw. At the end of each episode of the Chopin podcast, Jed will share his thoughts on an exceptional recorded cycle of the given genre, as well as a memorable recording of an individual piece within that genre. Here are his picks for Chopin Scherzos.
Among the many excellent recorded cycles devoted to the Chopin Scherzos, one recent version, to my mind, really stands out. And that's a recording by Seong-Jin, who won the 2015 Chopin competition in Warsaw. I think his Scherzo cycle is an unqualified triumph. And he takes the B minor scherzo, the first scherzo's outer sections, at quite a clip, but he manages to account for every linear detail without losing any control. And he also avoids the common tendency to transform that trio section based on the folk song Sleep My Jesus into an interminable lullaby. And the pianists who do that, we know who you are, but not this one. He brings a lot of contrast in character and dynamics throughout the B-flat minor scherzo, and it just has a freshness of approach that is really welcome to hear in a work that is arguably overplayed. Now, his angular phrasing of the C-sharp minor scherzo's introductory measures belie the fact that he's actually playing them in tempo as written. You do hear a lot of pianists stretch them out. Ya-da-da-da-dum, ya-da-da-da-dum, da-da, that goes all over the place. But he plays it strictly in tempo the way it's written. And he also takes us time over the central chorale, the da-da-da-da, how dry I am. And he even throws in a few old school anticipations of the left hand, meaning that he'll play the left hand before the right hand. And that's perfectly in style. However, perhaps the prize of this cycle is the fourth scherzo, the E major scherzo, which is more difficult a piece to hold together. But he brings to this music real hair trigger runs and these stinging détaché accents that are just so effortlessly dispatched. and this kind of a determined and focused presentation is very much in keeping with the tradition of Vladimir Ashkenazy in 1955 in the Chopin Competition, which is an amazing live performance, and with the individual performance of a scherzo that I will recommend, which is, let me get the copy, Vladimir Horowitz in 1936. This is a recording that my late colleague Harris Goldsmith liked to call architectonic, architecture-oriented, meaning that the form of the piece was always first and foremost in the foreground, yet the sheer speed and the precision of the detail and the absolute focus of all of the small notes just beggars belief. And there's tons of tone color and the control of pedaling. I mean, this is one of Horowitz's greatest recorded achievements. And it's interesting that this is not a piece that he played later in his career, nor did he ever re-record it. Whereas with the B minor scherzo, Horowitz kept coming back to that piece time and again throughout his career. And that makes me think that when Horowitz set down this Fourth Scherzo in 1936, he probably knew that he couldn't do better.
And now I'll take the liberty of adding another recording recommendation to Jed's list. I wouldn't normally do this, but I wanted to honor the late Janusz Olejniczak, whose recent passing was a shock to many music lovers around the world, especially in his native Poland. Although perhaps best known as the recording artist and hand double for the Academy Award-winning 2002 film The Pianist, Olejniczak was an actor in his own right, and a celebrated concert pianist whose recordings are cherished around the world. Olejniczak was scheduled to sit on the jury of the Chopin competition in Warsaw in 2025. He was 72. We'll now listen to Olejniczak's recording of the last part of Chopin's Second Scherzo, made on an 1849 Erard piano.